Yo guys, before I start showing off the build, I just want to mention I stream everything I do from the cooking to the gameplay on Shye GW2 on Twitch. Make sure to come and say hi if you're interested in seeing it all live. If not, let's continue. Alright, for the equipment, you want to go Carrion Amulet since it gives us 1200 Condi damage, unlike Tyrant Amulet, which is way less, and it gives us precision instead of some other stats. I really wanted that Condi damage. And the 30,000 HP, thanks to the 900 Vitality, is amazing to let us soak up some damage when we're going balls deep into the enemy team. That together with the Melandria Amulet giving us some armor, again giving more value to our health here. But on top of that, we also have minus 20% incoming condition duration. That's really big, that's really important, because Amalgam has very low cleansing possibilities. So having this to reduce the condis and not having to press your condi cleanses in the first place is a huge deal. So all that together lets us really sustain really well, while still having enough damage to nuke people with 25 might, because this build, when you nuke, you have 25 might. Then next we have the very obvious and mandatory cleansing sigil. Again, our cleansing is not too great on this spec, let alone in sPvP, so cleansing sigil is kind of mandatory. But then we take sigil of compounding. We do a little bit of everything, strike and power damage with the 25 might we have during our burst period. So 1% of extra damage per condition on foe is great, because on average when we're bursting we have about 5 to 6 condis on them, maybe more, maybe less. It really varies how quickly you can rotate your burst here. But compounding sigil, if you want damage, this is the way to go. Otherwise you could probably go energy sigil or something else, but this is a Condi NUKER build. We still want to have damage, you know, we can't go only defense. So obviously compounding sigil is here a really good pick. For the traits, in Amalgam it's very simple. We want Hardened Chrome. The cleansing on this is kind of useless for one single cleanse on stance. So protection with our amount of HP, it's great. Mercurial tendencies then is what we want instead of Carbolic Composition, unless you are playing Biomancer Relic. If you play Biomancer Relic, you want this, but otherwise the poison duration is so short. It's only 1.5 seconds PvP. It doesn't do damage. It's 250 damage in a game where you've dealt like 30,000 to this enemy, and most of the time, by the time the person has finished casting their heal, your poison is already gone, etc. So it's not even gonna do much of a healing effectiveness reduction, blah blah blah. So you want Mercurial tendencies, again, unless you're Biomancer Relic. And then this is new genes now. It gives us ages on cleanse, it gives us stability on torrents, and it gives us more might on obliterate. And on top of that, every morph skill you use will give you another 3 might. So just one obliterate will give us like 18 might together with evolving. If you play double helix, you're just gonna not have much use near the end of it, because you're always gonna have only one evolve up anyways. Might as well just have the one evolve with the extra boons and the extra morph boons and shit like that. So yeah, that's why we picked that. For firearms, I just want to say Shrapnel Nades gives us bleeding. This also Shrapnel trait gives us bleeding, and then this Sharpshooter trait gives us bleeding. So all of that together with Flux State as well gives us Sanguinary, a lot of might stacking, gives us easy 25 might when we evolve an elite and use Obliterate and all that stuff. Also loss of might. Then we got No Scope to increase our critting and shit with this. This is useless, and this barely gives us any increase in damage, but you could go this if you really don't care about this and this. Then we want Incendiary Powder, just because, again, extra burning and extra burning duration on top of that. I think it's very valuable. We are a Condi focus build. Again, we don't really care that much about power, but you could go Modified Ammunition for the increased damage, strike damage per condition if you're completely viable. And this as well, you could go Quickness on CCing someone, because your lead helps with that fairly easily, or your Spear 4. All three of these are options, but for me, this was the highest damage option. You just melt people with that extra stuff going on. So this is why we picked that. Then for explosives, we took Grenadier because we need that extra radius increase on our nades. Otherwise, it's way too hard to hit people, and either way, these two don't help us that much anyways. Then we have Blast Shield for the extra vitality that we get, and the Barrier is also very nice every time we dodge roll. And then we have Shrapnel again for that bleed application, and the cripple covering condition as well. It's very nice. That's why we took these traits. Okay, I'm gonna quickly explain to you guys why we take the morph skills and the utility skills. The lead is very important here for DPS. You'll see it in the footage. Utility goggles is our stun break, protection, resistance, and 3 Condi removals if you have blind, that is. So it's great. In overall, Amalgam doesn't have almost any Condi cleansing besides this stupid trait here, but it's garbage useless, so this is way better. Then Gaseous State, it's only 4 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. You have great mobility. Every strike damage that hits you will be like a fumble, and you're immune for those 4 seconds to Immob, Cripple, and Chill on top of the Break Sun, right? Then you have Naked, it's your highest DPS kit. You cannot really play without it because again, the cooldowns are so long on this spec, the downtimes are crazy. Then Methodic State, 9000 healing if you have Permanent Barrier, and if you, at the very end of your cast, you want to trigger one of these skills just to have a little bit of barrier up for that extra healing for sure, and try to avoid getting hit with your barrier on, so you do get the full extra 20% healing. We get protection from the trait, but also from cleanse itself, stacking with each other. Then we cleanse 4 conditions, and when we evolve, we heal and we have alacrity, and it's also a stun break on using the skill itself. Then Thorns, in my opinion, is like the most useless one, and yet we still use it because it's a stun break, and when we use new genes, it's 4 seconds of stability, and that stability is very useful because our evolve, our heal, our flex state are such a long cast time that most of the time we get interrupted. So you want that stability on Thorns. This Thorns does not have a cast time, and that does make it a bit more useful, to be honest. But also on top of that, together with, if you were running this carbolic composition, it helps a lot to stack those poison stacks when you evolve, because even your spears and your nades will trigger the carbolic composition as long as you're in your evolved state with Thorns. It's very useful for that, but otherwise, yeah, we mainly use it for stability and stun break. Again, this together you have like 4, which is great. And for Obliterate, it's very interesting. We get 10 might on evolving for like 8-9 seconds. And on top of that, all the might we have gets an increase of 10 power and Condi damage per stack with our Titanic strain. That alone is really huge, right? But then on top of that, Obliterate will give us 5 might on use. Then on top of that, new genes, we get another 3 might. Then on top of that, bleeding, 8 stacks of bleeding translates to 8 stacks of might again. So, and again, protection, barrier as well, breaks barriers as well. That together with, if you crit and all the power you have, you can deal some pretty good damage with Obliterate strike damage and the 8 stacks of bleeding with all the might that you have in this. It's humongous. So Obliterate is very, very important to have, and you cannot drop this. Alright guys, this is a wrap. I hope you guys will enjoy the build, and I hope you guys enjoyed the build showcase. Just remember, the biggest weakness is the high downtime on this build. You go in and you want to get out right after you've expended everything. You always kind of want to depend on your teammates being behind you if you're going in outnumbered, but for like a 1v1 or even for a 1v2, if you kite well, or if you or if the enemy is bad, you can really do some big damage and just one-shot them before they can even do anything to you. Alright, see ya, bye bye. The Condi NUKER strikes again! Let me spam autos, Okay, no autos for you.
j'ai pas dormi. Crois pas que je me moque de toi. Baby fuck me, sans toi moi je suis mort qui. Tes lèvres tu les mordis. Je veux que tu deviennes folle sur moi. Baby fuck me, j'étais mieux dans mon ordi. Me parler j'ai pas dormi. Crois pas que je me moque de toi. Tu me regardes dans les yeux et je sais de quoi t'as envie. Alors on met un film.